Well, first speaker is Correia. Joao, where are you? Over there. Well, many of you know Joao, huh? Most of you know him. He has a marine biology degree and has worked as curator of collections and consultant of Oceanário de Lisboa. He's a PhD in Portuguese shark fisheries, and in fact he's involved with shark conservation for more than 15 years. He's an active member of many NGOs related to shark conservation, as the European Elasmobranch Association, the American Elasmobranch Society, the Shark Alliance, Shark Trust, Portuguese Elasmobranch Association, and others. He's university professor and researcher since 2005, and is founder and owner of Flying Sharks, a company that moves fish, well, live fish, from southern Portugal to every corner of the world. That's happening since 2006. Joe is going to talk about how to succeed in a 24-hour transport of 2,000 mackerels from southern Portugal to northern Germany. That's a long transport. Thank you, Joe. Please.
Thank you so much. So, buenos dias. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some transports that we did this summer with lots of mackerel to northern Germany. But before that, I would like to thank the EUAC committee for allowing us to do this presentation. It is, in fact, an honor and a privilege to be talking to you, especially giving the first presentation. And I really would like to thank you all for being here and for allowing us to do this. Now, as you can see on the slide, we do have quite a lot of co-authors. That's the Flying Sharks team, also Nicole Kuber from the Oceaneum, who's been our client and a very, very close friend. We've been doing really good work with Nicole throughout this summer. And also some folks from the University of the Algarve in the south of Portugal. One of the people there, Maria João Silva, is doing her master's thesis with us on physiological stress of, during transport. And we've been doing some interesting things with them, which I'll tell you about. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Flying Sharks, the company, and the two transports we did to the Oceaneum. Also a little bit about Maria João's scientific work she's been doing, and a couple of other things we've been playing with other animals related to this type of transport. Now, I have to say it's a pleasure to be back at the EUAC meetings. I didn't actually come to a EUAC meeting from 1999 to 2007. 2007 was my first after a long period, and some people were asking me what I've been doing, and then, well, this is it. I've been working in Hollywood in some colorful productions, which you might find in your video store, maybe in the alternative section. We've been playing with some other colorful productions as well. But I'll tell you a little bit about us right now. Flying Sharks is actually based in Olhão, which is a small fishing town in the south of Portugal. And we have a very close relationship with Tunipex, which is a commercial fishing company, mostly devoted to tuna, but they will also catch other things. They operate the set net, which is actually the only set net in Portugal. The fishermen are very, very actively engaged with our operation. They are, in fact, financially rewarded for that, so they really enjoy working with us, and it's also great fun. It's not just a financial aspect, of course. They do have an 800 millimeters, so that's very close to a meter, mesh size, which, of course, allows for the passage of small specimens. Again, they focus on very, very large tuna. They will catch maybe 100 to 150 large tuna every year. But the great thing about Tunipex is that, well, it being a set net, it's passive fishing. So everything that's not sold is either released, well, it will be released. So there's no trashing, no discards, which, of course, is a huge problem in fisheries, as you all know. Collecting is done with plastic bags, so no hooks or anything invasive. This, of course, allows us to get really good quality animals. That's me being an idiot a few years ago, getting my herniated discs. But thankfully, with time, I got a little wiser, and now I've learned to bend my knees, which is very important. They do catch quite a few things, lots and lots and lots of teleos. This is just a very, very small list of a lot of things that they catch. I would point out your attention to the last ones there: sunfish, meager, Argyrosoma regius, they grow very, very large, and swordfish. And I've been talking to a few of you about maybe doing some fun things. You'll never know. Scombrids, of course, is the target of Tunipex. They get both Scombrid japonicus and Scombrid scombrus, and a bunch of other things: skipjack tuna, bonito, little tunny, bluefin tuna, and a bunch of other things. I should point out that in the program that you have, we've listed our species as Scombrid scombrus, but actually mostly thanks to the Oceaneum staff who really took the time to identify this species properly. It turns out it's actually Scombrid japonicus. I have to admit I'm not the best person to deal with Scombrid taxonomy, so it's a little bit embarrassing that we've been calling it one thing for so many years and it turns out it's another one. But if you've looked at the two, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. Elasmoranx, we do catch quite a few elasmoranx in Tunipex as well. Most of them are released. Occasionally some are sold on the fish market in Olhão. They do catch small blue sharks, small mako sharks, so this kind of makes our head spin every now and then and makes us wonder about potential future fun projects. And they get mobulids as well, Mantabirostris, Mobula mobular, and a few other fun things as well. Another cool thing that I take a lot of joy talking about is we have the Flying Sharks Research Fund, so we ask our clients to make a small contribution whenever they get some services or fish from us, and we actually donate that to students. In the upper left corner there you can actually see Maria João, the young lady I was telling you about. She got a scholarship from us. There's some folks over there. Ana Sequeira, she's doing her PhD with whale sharks in Australia. André Afonso is also doing his PhD with the requiem sharks in Brazil, and they're all doing exceptional things, and it's quite a joy for us to actually be able to support their research. But enough of all that, let's talk about the actual transports. So, Scombrid japonicus. Now, for years, as most of you know, this was a very, very difficult species. In fact, for many years, it was sort of way up as, let's say, white sharks or mako sharks or even tuna, and it was believed that it was very, very close to impossible to transport this species. But a lot of work has been done on it. They're very delicate animals. They consume a lot of oxygen. Chuck Farwell at the Monterey Bay Aquarium did a lot of research. He's got a lot of papers on these animals, not just mackerel, but scombrids in general. The Oceanario, while I was working for the Oceanario, we were amongst the first institutions in the world who actually did a lot of transports of mackerel. The Global Ocean Tank in Lisbon, as you all know, most of you have had the opportunity, has a massive and very beautiful school of mackerel inside. Alan Marshall, working for the Oceanario at the time in '98, he actually gave a paper on transporting mackerel right here at the EUAC meeting. And also the Oceanographic has been displayed mackerel with the assistance of the Oceanario back in its opening days, and that was a lot of fun. Now, while working with the Oceaneum and Nicole, we've had the opportunity of transporting not just mackerel, but quite a lot of other things, as you can see up there. We've actually done a few elasmobranchs, a few rays. Down in the bottom, we've done a few invertebrates. We've done some lobsters. We've done an octopus. And we've done quite a few different species, sunfish, and a few other things, a lot of sparids. So even though I will be talking about water quality with the mackerel, bear in mind that those parameters actually apply to all of these fish, because they were in fact all swimming under similar conditions. Separate tanks, of course, but we mostly used the same treatment for all of the tanks. Now, two transports we did this summer, June 27 and August 1st. We took a truck from Olhão to Lisbon. That's about a 4 to 5 hour truck ride. And then we flew DHL to Leipzig in Germany. and then another 6 or 7 hours by truck up to Stralsund, and then of course with acclimation and everything, it all adds up to about 24 hours in total. And I'll just take this time to thank DHL. They're absolutely phenomenal, and they bend over backwards to accommodate every single need that we have. I can't remember asking DHL for something and them telling us no. I mean, they always do whatever they can to say yes to us, which is really great. Now, catching in our tank in Olhão is extremely delicate. Of course, mackerel, as you all know, are very, very sensitive fish. Absolutely no human materials can touch them. We all have to wear latex gloves. We have to wear plastic bags. We wear this huge vinyl box that we sort of lure the mackerel to go inside, and then we close the door, and then we catch the mackerel from inside that box. And this has worked very well for us. This really not touching the mackerel is absolutely critical. You touch them with a finger and that mackerel is as good as dead, so be very careful with that. Counting and loading the trucks in Olhão is always good fun. There's actually no beer on this slide, but trust me, there's quite a few beer bottles behind the trucks and everything. The Tunipex fishermen come and give us a hand. We've got Senor Zeca there on the left helping us count the fish, and the whole process, of course, takes quite a few hours, but it's always good fun. And notice everyone is wearing the latex gloves, and it's really important to, even though it's a fun morning, it's actually, well, we try to maintain it at a very professional level. Another cool thing that we do is I have the honor and, well, the privilege of teaching quite a few young kids, both bachelor's and master's degrees, and as much as possible, I try to get the students out there in Olhão to give us a hand loading the fish. And they, of course, love it, and gives them a chance to get some experience as well. So, the actual transport, well, nothing really exciting, nothing too crazy about what we've done with the mackerel. We've used our standard 1.6 meter diameter polyethylene vats, loaded with 1,300 liters of local salt water. We've got the traditional jacuzzi filters, which most of you have used probably, with both mechanical and chemical filtration with activated carbon. No water changes throughout the 24-hour period, but we have used quite a bit of Amquel, which of course quenches ammonia, and bicarbonate and carbonate to buffer pH. We've used two different dosages. June 27, we went with 15 grams of Amquel, 15 bicarbonate, 30 carbonate, and we've added this 8 times throughout the transport. And August 1st, we actually upgraded that substantially to 40 grams of Amquel, 20 bicarb, and 40 carbonate. And you will see the results of that right now. So, upon arrival in Stralsund, of course, acclimation of the animals, introduction of the animals to the quarantine tanks. In Stralsund, we were careful to have both, every time all of the plastic bags with the animals were transported inside the bucket, just because, you know, it's arriving of a big transport, as you all know, it's a lot of tanks, a lot of people are running around, everybody's doing the best job that they can, and of course it's accidents happen easily, so it's important to have this bucket just so no bags get teared and no fish are flopping around on the ground. And finally, the exhibit. After quarantine, the animals are introduced, as you can see on the upper part of the slide. That's the mackerel swimming in the beautiful tank in Stralsund, which I would highly recommend all of you to go and visit as soon as you can, because it's really an excellent facility. So let's look at some results.
3 minutes left, Joe.
Okay, thank you. So as I told you, we've used quite a different dosages for both transports. This is the students preparing everything, and it looks a little funky sometimes. Anyway, the results, we've had quite a few animals on the separate tanks, yielding a total bioload, an average bioload of 16 kilograms per cubic meter. And you can see that June 27, when we had the lower dosages, which is the red dots over there, actually we had very, very low pH as bioload got bigger. But on the blue dots, when we used the higher concentrations, of course, pH was able to be maintained a lot higher. Ammonia, again, as we used the lower dosages of quenching agents, was a lot higher during the transport with higher bioloads. And with the blue dots, as we used a lot higher AMQL dosages, of course, ammonia was much, much lower. I'll give you some quick results of Maria João's laboratory studies. As I was saying, she was doing her master's thesis on physiological stress. She got the scholarship. So we've done some studies with an artificial concentration of 0.25 ppm. You can see different dosages of AMQL over there. Of course, the higher dosage, the red line, yields lower concentrations of ammonia over time. We've repeated that for 0.5. Again, the higher dosages of AMQL get the better results. And I'll just go fast as we go to higher concentrations, up to 2.5. And of course, the dosage of 40-40-20 is the one that's really doing the best job at keeping ammonia high throughout time. Keeping ammonia low, I'm sorry, throughout time. Now, very quickly, summary table. As we convert all of these grams to ppm, bear in mind that our tanks, Flying Shark's tank, we had 1,300 liters. The University of the Algarve, in fact, had 2,000 liters. So it comes to that Flying Sharks, we were using about 30 ppm of AMQL, 15 or 30 depending of bicarb and carb. The university were in fact using 20. So our recommendation would in fact be that we go with about 30. But bear in mind that this is very preliminary, and we would very much like to do future studies on other concentrations and just to try different things. Now, very, very quickly, because I'm running out of time, I've got 2 more slides left. We've actually done a little bit of work with octopus that we transported to Denmark. This, I'm afraid, did not go very well. We've done some mock transports with very high concentrations of both AMQL and bicarb. The mock transports actually went very well, but when we did the real thing, it did not go very well. In fact, the animals did not survive the transport, which is very distressing because we've never actually ever lost an animal in transit. But this is just a small caution. So invertebrates, particularly octopus, really need a little bit more study. And we want to focus on that over the next few days because we are in fact moving some more octopus to Denmark as well in plastic bags and styrofoam boxes. So that really needs more study. So in conclusion, AMQL, bicarb and carbonate really do a very, very good job at keeping ammonia low and pH high. Of course, there's a lot more we can do and we will do with Maria João and some other folks to learn a little bit more about the finer concentrations. And I would like to thank you all for your attention, and especially Nicole for her great help throughout this summer and for trusting us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, João. We have time for 1 or 2 questions. There's one question there. Please wait for the microphone, please. It's arriving.
Hi. So your pH is getting depressed. I assume that's due to CO2 buildup and a little bit of the AMQL itself, which causes depression.
Yes.
What kind of aeration are you doing on these tanks to blow off CO2 besides just adding bicarb to it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, we pump oxygen with your regular air stone as much as possible. Of course, we can't do that during the flight because in an airplane everything has to be airtight. But whenever we're on the road, we try to keep things open as much as possible, just to to let the tanks vent a little bit. But of course, as we're moving these things, there's so much we can do. We can't have we can't have water sloshing around all over the place. So CO2 is in fact building up a little bit inside the tanks, but as much as we can, we try to open the lids when we stop and do that. But that's a very good point. One of the reasons we use so much carbonate and bicarbonate is in fact to counteract the effect of AMQL, which of course kills ammonia but makes pH drop. So we've been doing that, yeah.
Yeah, because when we were transporting sharks with Dynasty Marine, we found that we had to actually pump a lot of air into the tank as well as
Right.
oxygen to try to keep the pH from dropping.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Quite honestly, we haven't really had a lot of problems with pH, which probably didn't really drive us to that level of concern. We do have the water effluent from the jacuzzi filters drops above the surface. That causes a lot of sloshing and a lot of decent aeration. And pH, even though it kind of drops a little bit with time, it really isn't that critical. We've always had a lot more concern with ammonia than pH. But again, we're going to try different formulas with more bicarbonate and carbonate, and I like to think we've got it under control.
One more very short question, like yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Joao.
Okay, thank you.